What's up, guys? My name is Charlie McKee. This is All Love. I want to talk about letting go. Why we would let go, who we would want to let go of, what we would want to let go of, and what attachment is. I think that is really important to understand what attachment is, what non attachment is, and what detachment is. In the spiritual community online, sometimes I see pretty big influencers in the spiritual community say this is how to achieve detachment. And for me personally, that's an incorrect word to use, although that is very subjective. But there's a difference between detached and non attached. Detached is like you are actually separated emotionally from everything else. It's kind of like you feel yourself as other, you have no interest in whatever that is, and that could lead to disassociation, that could lead to depression and anxiety, that could lead to a lot of things that are a bit detrimental to our mental health. Non-attachment is having the mindfulness that basically, someone put this in words, I don't know who it was, but they said it's okay to own things. It's okay to be proud of the things you own. It's okay to show them off. But when the things own you, that's when you have a problem. That's when you're attached. And so non-attachment is I have no control over anything other than my reaction. I have things that I love. I have things that I believe in. I have things that I pursue. But the outcome of all of those things, it's out of my control. So what I can control is myself. Basically, non-attachment. So you can have non-attachment in relationships, towards money, towards whatever. And this goes into attachment theory. We're going to talk about letting go very soon, I swear. But I think it's important to understand the foundation of what holding on means and what attachment is. So there are four, if I'm correct, I could be wrong. There are four different types of attachment. There is anxious attachment, which is kind of what we're talking about, holding on so tightly. That's going to be anxious. It's this is mine. I need this. This is my identity. Holding on, constricting, strangling, anxious attachment. And of course, this might sound a bit extreme, and I think that it is important to understand that there are levels of all this. It's not just if you're anxious attached, you are always holding on and strangling. There's levels to everything, but to make a clear picture, I'm going to go almost to the extreme of all of it. Then there's avoidant attachment. The second someone takes a step towards you, you're like, nope, hands out, you're at arm's length away, I'm not letting you in, I'm not being vulnerable with you. No. With money, it could be, I'm not going to check my bank account. I don't want to check it. I don't want to look to see what number I'm at because then I might be disappointed. Hands off, not interested. Ambivalent attachment is a mix between the two. It is, let's say in relationships, it is someone takes a step towards you and you're like, back up. I don't really want to engage. Then they take a step back and you're like, wait. No. I need you. And it's like this constant dance between holding on and then getting overwhelmed by it all and pushing away. And then there's secure attachment, which is non-attachment. It is just, I love you, I respect you, I respect myself, I want to spend my time with you, I want to, it's like a little grab, it's a little hug. It's not holding on and strangling, it's a hug. And then if you want to go do your own thing or whatever, yeah, for sure, go do that. That's amazing. Good for you. And just having the security within yourself. And so that's the foundation of attachment theory, I guess. And I want to also be clear that it is important to have community. It is important to be attached in some ways. I've read, and I'm not sure again if this is 100% true, but it does make sense to me if we think about mirror neurons and if we just think about being in someone else's energy, how you react to them. We are biologically dependent on each other in certain ways where like you help me regulate my body, I help you regulate your body, and like we bounce off each other. So there is this dependence that we have biologically, especially as we grow closer to someone, we let them in more, all of a sudden, like, I've had this experience myself where I'm holding someone and we start to breathe together. And maybe they're having a panic attack. Maybe I'm having a panic attack. And all of a sudden we're like regulating each other. Hearing the vibration from the other person's sound is influencing my body. Therefore, I'm a bit dependent on that. But it's the dependence when it gets out of hand is when you think that you have to have it. When this is your entire emotional support and you can't get that from yourself or anywhere else, that is when you are too dependent, and it can get very toxic for you, your partner, business, money, whatever it is. So it's good to be aware of that. So, letting go. How do you let go? Oftentimes, we get so attached to things because that's kind of, we romanticize attachment. We romanticize it in media, in TV, in books. We romanticize, this is my thing. This has helped me. This is my person. And it definitely, I understand the beauty in that, but we are conditioned to be attached. At least I can only speak for the Western culture in the Western world, because that's all I've experienced myself. But yeah, absolutely, we idealize and romanticize, I guess romanticize more than idealize, attachment. And we watch dramas and we watch like these really romantic Hallmark movies, and it's honestly, if you take a look at it, it's all toxic. It's all very very scary to think about. If people actually lived like that, it's a very big roller coaster of up and downs, and we become attached to that because we love the high that we get when it goes back up, and when it crashes back down, it's exciting, and we become addicted. So it's very normal if you feel like you're holding on to something, whether it's a relationship or money or whatever. If you're holding on to this idea of it, I want you to know that that is, you have been more than likely conditioned to feel this way. So it's absolutely normal. There's no reason to beat yourself up for it. But what I can say is that it is important to be aware of you doing this. So you have something, you realize you need to let go of something. One, identify what it is. So let's just say you want to let go of an old relationship. Maybe it was a past lover. Maybe you dated them for 5 or 6 years. Maybe it was 10 years, whatever. And it's been 3 years since you broke up and you cannot get them out of your head. It's just you fantasize about them coming back into your life. Okay, so you have something that you know you want to let go of. Identify what it is. Identify what that means to you. What does it mean? What does this person symbolize in your life? What does this money, or what does this job, or what does this material or belief, what do these things symbolize for you, about you? So if we go to this relationship, this old relationship, that symbolized maybe that you were chosen, that you were good enough, that someone loved you. That symbolized freedom or vulnerability. Maybe it was the first time you opened up to someone. Maybe it was the first time you told someone you loved them. Maybe it was they helped you get out of your comfort zone and you moved to new countries, or whatever it is. They symbolized something for you. And so you have to understand what they symbolized. Okay, next one. I have to check. Okay. I have it written down over there. If you let that thing go, let that person go, let that idea go, that they might come back in your life, if you let the thought of getting a promotion go, whatever it is, what would that mean for you? What would happen? What is the fear that lays within letting go of it? Maybe if you let go of this ex-partner and the idea of maybe they come back in your life, or that you lost the love of your life, maybe if you let go of that idea, the fear that comes up is that no one will ever love you the same. It's that you lost the best thing ever, and no one's ever gonna come in and be anywhere near how great this person was. Maybe it could be with money, that you're gonna be seen as a failure. The fear of letting go of this number in your bank account or getting this promotion, it'll go into the fear that you are never good enough, that you're not worth it, that you don't deserve it, that you're not working hard enough, that your parents were right. If you compare yourself to your friends, they're all going to think you're a loser, right? Whatever the fear comes up acknowledge that fear. Find that fear that is attached to losing that thing that you're holding on to. What does it mean to you? Okay? After that, you have to understand that fear is a belief. Not always. Not always. I want to be clear with this. But most of the time, in our modern day, the fears that we have are conditioned beliefs. And of course, there are fears that have been implemented in our body because of survival. That is our most basic fears. The fear of dying, the need to survive. But beyond that, letting go of this partner is probably not going to kill you. It's not the fear of survival. So we have conditioned beliefs that you have to understand what a belief is. And sometimes, most of the time, our beliefs aren't even our beliefs. Our beliefs have been told through generations, through school systems, through peers, through parents, through whoever, through the media. Our beliefs aren't even ours. And so a lot of times you have to ask yourself, why do I believe that? Why do I believe that if I let this person go, I'm never going to be loved again? Why do I believe that I won't be successful if I don't get this promotion? Where does this come from? And if you go back, you might be able to find the root. It's not necessary always to find the root, but if you can, I highly recommend that you do so. So where does this come from? Understanding that this fear is probably just a belief, and understand that beliefs can be challenged. So a belief is a thought that you think a lot, and you have faith in this thought. You have faith in this, in this belief. And a lot of times, a belief has no fact behind it. It is pure faith. And maybe you've experienced something that made you think this, and that's also a very common one. So we do have conditioned beliefs, but we also have beliefs because we have experienced firsthand whatever it is. And now we're afraid of that's going to happen next time I let go of this person, or next time I don't get the promotion, that the same thing will happen from our old experience. But oftentimes that's not true. So understanding where the belief come from, understanding that you can change your beliefs, that you can challenge them. And that is the most beautiful thing. And this is what I do with my clients, is understanding what belief you have, what limiting belief that you have that no longer serves you, and challenging that. Like, okay, now go out and step into the fear. Go out and try it out. We won't know unless we try and we face this fear with courage. That is when we can really prove to ourselves that this belief is not 100% accurate. And when you can start to see that this really solid belief isn't 100% accurate, you can start questioning things. You can start, with courage and with faith, you can start stepping into it more and more and more until this fear is no longer a big fear, a paralyzing fear. Now it's just the thing in the back of your mind where your intuition is say, hey dude, be careful. But your body and your gut is like, yeah, thank you, but I got you. I got this. This is going to be okay. I'm going to learn. Whatever you experience in the past, if it is an experienced belief, that only gives you compassion. That only gives you a lesson to go forward and understand how to navigate that situation in the future. But it does not mean that that past circumstance is your current reality. And it doesn't mean it's going to happen again. It just gives you the awareness to know what to look for, to make sure that you're not going to put yourself in danger. So, identify the belief, identify what it symbolizes to you, identify what it would be like if you let it go, what fear comes up if you let it go, and understand that the belief of that fear can be challenged. And it's really important to acknowledge the fear that you have. And this is a really hard piece for a lot of people, to acknowledge the fear, because being fearful in modern day society is seen as being weak. Being vulnerable is weak. And this has been a pushed narrative as long as I can remember. But to acknowledge the fear is the only way you're able to actually let go of the fear. If you say, dude, I'm so scared, I'm never going to be loved like that again. I'm so scared no one's ever going to choose me again. I'm so scared I'm going to fuck up and I'm going to be living on the street, right? Like, your fears might seem so extreme and so out there, but it's valid. It is valid because it has been implemented in you somewhere that fear is not okay, and that fear is going to happen. And I need you to validate yourself that this fear was very useful in parts of your life, and that it was necessary actually for this fear to come in because it helped you get through something at some point. So not shaming yourself or getting down on yourself or feeling guilty or whatever, calling yourself stupid for having this fear, it is absolutely valid that you have that fear. But now it's also your decision to go out and change it, to go out and embrace it, to go out and see what you're truly capable of. Carl Jung said, "I'm not what happened to me, I am what I choose to become." Absolutely. All the things that have happened to you, that's happened to you. That's done. And that maybe it sucked. Maybe it was the worst thing you ever went through. But what you choose to do today is what really matters. And I have this on my whiteboard right here. It says, who are you deciding to be today? This changed my life. I can wake up every day and decide. I can choose to be something. I can decide and choose to have different values, to consume different things. You have the opportunity every day to challenge old beliefs, to challenge who you were yesterday and step into a new energy. And it's not always easy. And one of my other favorite quotes is, "It's simple, but it's not easy." It is simple, but it's not easy. I think that is the fucking everything I believe in. It's simple. We understand logically the steps we have to take to create new habits. We understand logically how when we hold on to something, it's not good for us. We understand that we're draining ourselves. It's simple, and we know what we need to do, but it's not easy. I understand that this is still frustrating. It's still frustrating because you know how to do it. You know logically that you should do it, but you still feel stuck with holding on to something that you understand no longer serves you. So there's this beautiful thing called the pain and pleasure principle. Basically, everything we do in life, either we are avoiding pain or going towards pleasure. So if you're continuing an unwanted pattern, it's because you're associating more pain to stopping it than you are to continue it. And if there's a change you keep putting off, it's because you associate more pain to making the change than to keeping things the same. The truth is that you know that making the change will pay off, and it would be much more beneficial than staying stuck in old patterns. So understand, what is the pain you expect if you make this change? This can be pain from the experience of making the change, or the pain you would experience if you did reach your goal. Ask yourself that question. What is the pleasure you have experienced by not making this change? What benefit do you receive from keeping around this old pattern or this problem? So what pleasure have you experienced by not doing it? What gives you, we live in such an instant gratification era and everything around us is making that a reality. Our social media, like everything is instant. If it doesn't give me instant gratification, I don't want it. So what's the pleasure that you have by not doing it? What's the pain that will happen if you do not make this change? Okay, that's a really important one. Is the pain that will happen if you continue doing what you have been doing? If you continue holding on, what pain will be caused? And what is the pleasure that you will experience when you do make this change and reach your goals? How will your life be better? How will you feel? And what weight will be lifted? So when you ask yourself these questions, I would encourage you to journal this. This is from a worksheet that I send to my clients. So I would recommend that you journal those questions and you start to understand, like, yeah, I have been doing this because I've received more instant gratification, more instant pleasure, but in the long run, I receive more pain from that. And so just keeping things in perspective, looking as the observer, it's very easy to get caught up in the emotions of it all, in the what ifs, in the catastrophizing, and in the thought of forever, of ultimatums. Like a lot of us have the dialogue in our head that if we make a decision now, it's forever going to be this way. If I don't do this, it's forever going to happen. I will never have this, right? We think in these extremes. But life is not black and white. Life is this beautiful, beautiful fluidity of gray. And you might have an idea what will happen, an idea of what pain will come, but you will never know for sure until you do it. So, one last thing. I wrote this down last night, and I love the words because it rings true to me. It says, sometimes doing the best thing for yourself will not feel the best. Again, with the instant gratification, again with the pleasure. Sometimes doing the best thing for yourself will not feel the best. And I think that that's just important to remember. And you have to do something today. Obviously, you want to do things that honor you in the present moment, but understand if it actually honors you and if it's going to honor who you know you are, who you know you deserve to be a year from now or 3 years from now. One thing that I constantly go back to when I'm making big decisions is I like to imagine myself as a 50-year-old person who has maybe grandkids, or I'm around kids, or whoever. And I like to imagine the kid asking me, what did you do how did you get here? Tell me a crazy story. Tell me something that you were terrified of, right? Everything that we do is a story. Everything we do impacts our future. It impacts our future generations. And so if we do not let go of what is toxic for us, if we do not let go of what we need to let go of, it will most likely carry down to our next generation. And also, it gives us that story, that motivation. We inspire the people below us. We inspire our grandkids and our kids. We inspire the younger generations, even the older generations, by doing what honors us, even when it's terrifying. So I like to imagine these little kids gathered around me, and they're like, what did you do? That must have been so hard. And I can say it was hard. It was terrifying. I was so scared. But I did it because I love myself. And that will give them, hopefully, that inspiration to do the same. Ancestral trauma is a thing. We don't let go. We don't honor ourselves. It will carry on. And oftentimes, also, you're hanging on to trauma from other generations above you. And I know that might seem a little bit unfair. I get it, but step into that fear and that unknown with courage and with faith. And it might not go as you expect. It might not be easy, but if it's going to cause you a lot more pleasure in the future and a lot more weightlessness and a lot more courage and a lot more confidence, then give yourself that gift of taking action today, of stepping into letting go. This podcast and video was inspired by a TikTok that I made. And basically in the TikTok, if you're watching this on YouTube or wherever, you can see me, but basically it's like we hold on to things like this. It's kind of like you're strangling things. You're holding on so tight and your hands cannot be open. Let's pretend like there's a quarter in my hand and I'm holding on to it like this. White knuckles. I'm terrified of it dropping or letting it go. But someone's holding out $100 bill. I'm saying, hey, take this. I can't take it. My hands are closed. I can't take it. I'm occupied. This is contraction. When you're holding something so tightly, there's no fluidity. There's no movement. There's no way it can move. But when you open your hands and you allow things to come and go, you allow to receive and to give, to lose. It's okay to lose things sometimes. It's not yours to begin with. To give and take. You become free. You're able to receive abundance. And you're able to give abundance. That's all. That's all I want to leave you with today. I hope that you all have a beautiful day. If you want to follow me, if you have any questions for me, please follow me on Instagram at McKee, or on Patreon if you want to subscribe. That would help me a lot. Basically on Patreon, I put out first looks at my podcast, blog posts, random thoughts, affirmations, random things like that. And it gives me the opportunity and ability to travel, to gain more experience, and to live my life. This is what I love doing. I love talking. So, yeah, follow me on Patreon if you would like to, or on Instagram, send me a message if you want to hear something very specific, if you have any questions. And, yeah, hope you guys have a beautiful day.